Hey, what is up guys? So we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of new cards coming out in Clash Rebellion. Some of these are, I guess, technically leaked, but anyways, let's go and check them out. The first one is a normal monster, so we don't really need to cover this. There are some other normal cards. We won't really talk about some of the cards that are kind of not worthy of mentioning, but if you're a Perform Battle player, there is some new Perform Battle support announced, but I still think the deck is, just not on the same level as Ignites or some of this new other archetypes that are going to come out. There's some other Melodious Diva stuff, so that deck hasn't really been doing anything in the OCG. But anyways, there's also the Intermates, which again, those are the Performa Pals. We got the first card I want to talk about is the Aromas. There isn't a lot of really good cards for the Aromas. Basically, this monster, you set it, and then it gets flipped face up, and it can't be destroyed by battle. And it's kind of a mediocre effect. I wish it said it couldn't be destroyed by card effect also, but if it's flipped face up, you can gain 500 life points like each turn. After it says, yeah, during each end phase you gain 500. It really helps out in the Aura Mages, but the fact that it's a monster, if you could just like special summon it and it got its effect, it would be much better. There's other cards. We already kind of talked about the other Despots. There's also a new card. It's a new like C card. So that we have Flying C, we have Max C. So this is another card I feel like we should talk about. Anyways, it's called Counteracting C. So it's a level 4, 1400 attack, 1400 defense, which is actually not bad because of its effect. So anyways, during either player's turn when your opponent activates a spell effect that includes an effect that special summons a monsters, aka anti-Shaddolls, you can special summon this card from your hand. And the second effect is, if this card was summoned by its effect, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead while this card is face up. So wow, super anti-meta, plus you get a card. And then third effect is, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Earth Insect type monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, except for same copy of itself. It kind of sucks that it says Earth, although I was like, oh, maybe they're kind of trying to bring Inzectors back, giving Inzectors some anti-meta card plus a searchable card. But yeah, it does have to be Earth, and unfortunately, well, fortunately, if you like Dark-Armed Dragon, the Inzectors are dark. So this card is definitely kind of cool. I think it may make some impact, depending on what we get in the future for some other archetypes. There's this other, I think this is a Melodious Diva card. It's called Pianissimo. It's target one monster you control during this turn. That monster's original attack becomes 100, and it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effect. I kind of like Lance better, although this does cover technically monster effects. The monster can still be targeted, so it can still be bounced back, but I mean, I felt like it was maybe worthy of mentioning. Kind of a cool artwork as well. This is an interesting card. I wish it was a quick play. It's called Lone Reinforcement. You target one face-up monster, gains 1500 attack until the end of the turn. Like I said, I wish it was a quick play. It'd be a little bit better if it was a quick play. But yeah, I feel like since we have so many, we have what, Honest is at, is it 2 or 3 in the TCG? I believe it's at 2 right now, and no one even really wants to play it because, monsters, if you leave a monster on board, it's going to be destroyed by card effect, bounce back, other things just happen to the monsters, and so Honest isn't really seeing as much play. Another good card I feel like we should talk about is Wrongful Arrest. This one is actually a quick play. It almost looks like a Shared Ride, but anyways, it has the effect until the end of your next turn, players cannot add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing. Kind of reminds me of the card that we already have called Mistake, and it's kind of got the same artwork as well. It is a quick play, and I feel like Mistake almost does the same thing anyways, but I felt like it was kind of worthy of mentioning anyways, just because it is kind of a card that some players might just prefer because, Mistake is technically a trap. Traps are actually slower in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! As you guys know. There's this card called Swing Gaze. It destroys a bunch of pendulums, and you can get different effects based off the number you destroy. So you destroy all cards in each player pendulum zones, and you apply the effect. So 1, you get to inflict 500 burn damage. 2 or more, you get to add a pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. 3 or more, I think it says or more. It's like, yeah, it's like as if, yeah. Anyways, with 3 or more, you get to banish a card on the field, and then 4, you can add 1 Swing Gaze from your deck to your hand. Obviously, there's no 4 or more because you can, well, unless they change the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you can technically only have 4 pendulums technically on the field. 2 on your side, 2 on your opponent's. Next up, this is a card that I really think a lot of you troll players will like, and as well as just some interesting interaction in the game. It's called Chicken Race. It's a new field spell. This is what it looks like. I believe this is, I want to say it's like some X cannon or something like that. I don't know. It looks like some Zoids up in here. But anyways, it's a normal spell, field spell. And the first effect is the player with lower life points than their opponent takes no damage, which is, that's like all damage. So that right there already opens the door for a lot of shenanigans. And the other effect is once per turn during either player's main phase, the turn player can pay 1,000 life points, then activate one of these effects. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this effect activation. So you can draw a card, destroy this card, or you can have your opponent gain 1,000 life points. So that's pretty interesting. Because obviously, if you want to, do damage, you can be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna pay 1,000 life points, and then have my opponent gain another 1,000. Therefore, I can, maybe inflict damage. It just opens up a lot of random interaction. Because the turn player can, pay 1,000 life points, draw a card, then maybe somehow stop this card from being activated, or once per turn you get to negate a card on the field. I believe that there's a card that once per turn, you can negate a face-up card on the field, so you can make it so your opponent can't use it, and each time during your turn you pay 1,000 and keep on drawing cards. So like I said, there's a lot of weird interaction with this card, and I really like this card. It's absolutely crazy. Brilliant Spark, it's for Gem Knights. Like I said, if you want to read some of these, you can read the full of them. I'm just going to read the cards that I think are going to be relevant in the game or that are interesting enough to talk about. There is this other card for the Auro Mages. So you can only use one of them per turn. So you can pay 1,000 life points to add one Aurora monster from your deck to your hand. And the second effect is if you have less life points than your opponent, you can gain 500 life points. So that's actually a pretty good effect, but I feel like the Auro Mage archetype is like a win harder, because technically when you're ahead in life points, you would be ahead in the game in that sense, but a lot of times in the game, life points doesn't matter, but Auro Mages are super based around just having so much advantage, and usually when you win with Auro Mages, you're winning with 20,000 life points. It's just absolutely ridiculous what you can do, but everything has to go all in according to plan. The deck is relatively slow in my opinion right now. There's another card called Harmful Wind, so it's a continuous trap card, and I think this card is what really kind of helps them out a little bit, because I felt like the deck lacked a lot of support, and we are getting some more support announced for it. So anyways, you can only use each effect of it once per turn, so if you gain life points, you get to target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And that really makes the deck so much better, because it's a continuous trap card. And if you control an Aroma monster while your life point is at least 3,000 higher than your opponent's life point, you can pay the difference in life points to destroy any number of monsters your opponent controls whose combined attack is less than or equal to the amount paid. Wow. That, like I said, really makes the deck so much better. I like the first effect more. It's just if you gain life points, you get to do... if you gain life points, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. That really makes the deck so much better, because the deck didn't have a boss monster. So now every turn you just to pop monsters on the field. And going back to that other card that we talked about, it was that card where you set it and then it flips face up and it can't be destroyed by battle. That's really annoying, because then your opponent can't destroy that monster by battle. Oh, and every time you're going to heal, bam, you can destroy a monster. So kind of interesting interaction. I like the idea of doing something new. This card we actually kind of covered in a previous video. Instead of destroying all the monsters, it is a new Mirror Force. It's called Air Force. You return all attackers from monsters your opponent controls to their hand, so it can be used. And a lot of players are freaking out over this new card over here, because it does open up a lot of potentially stupid stuff in the game. It's called Judgment Scales. It's a normal trap card, and it's got Solemn on it, so it's got to be good, right? Anyways, you can only activate one of them per turn if there are... the first effect is... Well, actually it only has one effect. I don't know why they put the parentheses one in here. Maybe it's... No, it looks on the card that there's not going to be another effect. But anyways, if there are more cards on your opponent's side of the field then you have cards on your field and in your hand combined, draw cards from your deck equal to that difference. Now, this opens up a lot of strange stuff, because what I was thinking is, with this card, there is another card, I don't remember, I want to say it's Guided Treasure. I know in the picture, someone will mention in the comment section below, but on the picture it's got a girl and she's holding out her hand, and you discard 5 cards to activate it, and every time during your draw phase, you draw 2 cards. So this card could be pretty good if you like to play decks that go all in to make one card. Like, let's say, for example, you're playing Plant Synchro. You go first, you use every card in your hand to make a first turn Quasar, and you have nothing else. And then you set this, and then bam, you get to draw a bunch of cards. That's pretty good, and you don't have to pay any life points to just draw a bunch of cards. Like I said, it opens up a lot of interesting interaction for certain decks. Not every deck can make use of it. It can technically also be a comeback card. And I was thinking, since it's just your opponent just has to have more stuff on their field, I was thinking about maybe you can Black Garden and do a lot of stuff with this, because if you can Black Garden, give your opponent like 5 tokens, and then all of a sudden use all your cards, like I said, make a Quasar, just make like one monster or something, and then they have a bunch of cards on the field, you just draw a bunch of cards after that. So yeah, like I said, pretty interesting card. There's a new card called Extra Buck too. It's for Pendulum, well, I would say it's for Pendulum decks. Anyways, each time a card is added to your extra deck, I don't know if you can add anything to your extra deck from the graveyard other than like maybe the Monster Incarnation, I know. Some of the Burning Abyss can re-add the card, so I'm thinking maybe you can use it with those, but for the most part it's for Pendulum decks. But anyways, you get to put 1 spell count on this card each time you add a card to your extra deck. You can send this card with 3 spell counters to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. And I'm thinking, is there something that like gets your extra deck and like banishes it for 1 turn that puts everything back or something like that? I don't know. Maybe there's some interesting interaction, some type of card that like, you know, sends something from your extra deck to the graveyard, then it returns it immediately. This opens up a little bit of interesting interaction. I like cards that just do this. I don't know for what reason. They just add some like other thoughts, or I guess you could say other potential, you know, ways to play the game, just do shenanigans. This is another interesting card. It's called Side Effect, and it says question mark on the card. And it's a normal trap card that says your opponent can draw up to 3 cards. Then you gain 2,000 life points for each card they drew. Remember that your opponent is going to be drawing the cards off this, so this is kind of minus. And then you gain the life points. And I was thinking with this, you know, most of the time your opponent would be like, okay, I'll give you 6,000 life points to draw 3 cards. That's usually, you know, not too relevant, and especially in a format where we're pretty much playing 3 Upstart Goblin in a lot of competitive decks. What I'm thinking with this card is that maybe we can reverse this effect somehow. But there's also this card called Heavy Slump, which actually can be used as well. And it's when your opponent has, I want to say 6 or 7 or more cards in their hand, they shuffle everything back into their deck. And then on top of that, you'd get a bunch of life points off of that. And I believe like they shuffle everything back into their deck from their hand, and then like, they draw like 2 cards. So there's a little bit of trolling with this card too. You can definitely Heavy Slump. I believe it's Heavy Slump. Someone will mention in the comment section below. Heavy Slump is either the one with the like removes all counters or something like that. There's one card I know that in the game where it's like if your opponent has like I want to say 7 or more cards, they have to shuffle everything in their hand right back to the deck, and then they draw 2 cards. And then on top of that, you're gaining 6,000 life points because you know most opponents would be like, yeah, draw 3. There's also some interesting new support, I would say, for, I want to say for the Red Eyes, but it looks like it might be Chaos Dragon support too, because there is going to be more Chaos. After Clash of Rebellions, guys, the next set is going to be a Chaos support deck, or set. So there's going to be a lot of Chaos monsters, and more than likely they'll support Chaos Dragons, and I think this is just a hint for it. But anyways, it's level 4 Dragon. Says during the end phase, this card was normal 7. You can add 1 level 7 light or dark monster from your deck to your hand. So it's got Chaos written all over it. Unfortunately, it is during the end phase, so when I hear during the end phase, I just don't like those cards because I find them to be too slow in the game majority of the time. And it has to be normal summon, so you can't like, you know, Call of the Haunted it in Chaos Dragons or Oasis, and then be like, oh, you know, in end phase, I'm going to go ahead and add, you know, a really good card. The next turn I'm going to explode. It just seems a little bit too slow for me. There's also this card where it inflicts battle damage. You special summon 1 normal monster from your hand or graveyard, but it's going to use your normal summon up, or I guess you can pendulum for it, but I don't think it's really that relevant. We've already talked about the Lightsworn card, absolutely amazing. If you guys want to see like a full video on it, like we could talk about this card in one whole video, which basically I did. There's also a new Lightsworn support card, pretty cool. It's called Lightsworn Judgment. It's a normal trap card. So its first effect is to place this card on top of your deck. What a good effect, right? But the second effect is actually pretty good. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard by the effect of a Lightsworn monster, you can add 1 Judgment Dragon from your deck to your hand. Now, unfortunately, it has to be a Lightsworn monster, so I'm glad they did that, because otherwise, like, Creed Bandit could start abusing this. If you sold a recharge, you can add JD, it would just become, like, way too good. I don't know. Let me know, Lightsworn players, would you run this card? Because I find, like, Eclipse Wyvern gets its effect whenever, and then you can just, you know, well, the Dragon Ruler are technically banned, but, I mean, if you're playing, like, BLS, the Chaos version, you can, you know, obviously add Judgment Dragon through that, and plus, you already got a Chaos monster out. And this has a really, like, bad effect, because, like, the other effect is to, if you draw it, you're just going to place it on top of your deck. I guess it does set you up for milling, but if you already have all your Judgment Dragon in the grave, it doesn't let you add it from the grave. If it let you add the Judgment Dragon from the graveyard or deck to your hand, then we're looking at something much better, but it only is from the deck to the hand, so that's the main problem I have with this card. But let me know, guys, would you try it, Lightsworn? I'll definitely try it out in a video, and we'll see how it goes, but at the moment, it's not available on DevPro. There is more Girya support. It's just too slow in my opinion. It's during your main phase you can flip it, but anyways, just like the Girya armor. But its actual effect is, if this card is flipped face up, you can destroy a number of monsters on the field up to the number of Girya monsters you control. And if you control like 4 monsters, and if your opponent's controlling 5 monsters, I don't know how they haven't got over like your Girya stuff. So I don't really find this card to be that relevant. Maybe when you Black Garden someone. Black Garden looking pretty good now. But for the most part, I just don't think it's good, because at that point you're just destroying like Black Garden monsters. We already covered this other Yuria card. I don't think it's really necessary to mention. There is another rank. Oh, this is actually the Pendulum Scale 4. It's actually for level 6 stuff. I don't really know what the Empowered Warriors do. I don't know if they're a new archetype. I know that there's... I want to call them... They look like little warriors that have like armor. I don't remember what they were called, but they never really took off anyways. I don't know if they were called the Empowering ones, but there's new support for it if that archetype is out. But anyways, they got an okay card. This is the new field spell. It's Dragon type warrior and spellcaster type monsters you control gain 300 attack. Second effect is once per inning, discard one card to special summon one empowered warrior monster from your deck. And that doesn't really have any restrictions on the level, so it all comes down to how good are the empowered warriors going to be. Because also they gain a boost of attack. And then once per turn you can banish a total of 4 warrior and or spellcaster type monsters from your graveyard to add 1 Aether monster from your deck to your hand. But it really just, like I said, that second effect, once per turn you discard a card to special summon an empowered warrior, that opens up a lot of just like free synchro, like, you know, random ability to go for XYZs and stuff. I really like that, and like I said, it all comes down to the support that we get for that empowered warrior archetype, or if the Aether, there's somehow like maybe translation. I don't think that they're the same, but they could definitely be. It all depends, like I said, on what support we get. So I thought that was kind of worth mentioning. We were talking about this card. I think there was one card I wanted to talk about that wasn't in that section of the video. We got that one. Like I said, there's more Perform Pal support. There is more Gemini support announced. I think we covered all of it. I think we got the Solemn Scales. Yeah, we actually did cover it. It was the Solemn Scales card that I really wanted to talk about. But I think we covered most of the cards that I really want to talk about. Like I said, if you want to check out everything, I'll put the link to the organization, which is the page that, well, it was actually, they got it from someone else. It was actually from a Japanese blog site, but obviously they did the translation, so credit goes to them. But I think Clash Rebellions, guys, it's looking pretty good. There's so many great cards out of this. And also the Ignites. The Ignites are coming out in here, which I think are going to be the new best archetype of the game. Because the first turn, number 86, Key Beetle, it's so consistent to pull off. And you can Exodia in the deck. New Toon support, but like I said, this set is looking pretty good. Let me know, guys, what is your favorite card that we talked about? Personally, for me, I just like that idea of that chicken card. It's just such a random troll card that I think a lot of players are going to enjoy just to have fun with. Like, it's all about having fun in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! For me, at least. I enjoy having I like crazier deck ideas rather than trying to play the game competitively. That's where I have more fun. But yeah, it's got so many just random effects and interaction. And like I said, if there is a card that like I said, I know that there is a card that like negates like a face up. I think it's a face up just like spell or trap card on the field like once per turn. I don't remember if it's like during your opponent's turn or like your main phase or something like that. But if you can like somehow you only get the effect of this card, that'd be pretty cool. We'll have to see the interaction that this card has in the game. Or if you guys know any broken combos with some of the cards we mentioned, would love to hear them in the comment section below. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes out.